Good morning and welcome to our Wednesday show, Judah Gallo on Inside News. Myself and Shahil, we're going to discuss last meeting. Obviously, we're going to talk about a couple of barrier trials. Well, we only had the two. There was a grass gallop for the Maiden Cup. Obviously, a big build-up for the Maiden Cup this week. Some atmosphere is electric around Champ de Mars. I really believe that this is going to be a very, very exciting Maiden Cup. The draws are this evening, and we'll obviously know a lot more tomorrow as far as the draws are concerned. And like I said, it really looks like it's going to be an exciting race. Beautiful build-up, and we're going to go through a couple of horses that have worked. Unfortunately, Shahil, a lot of the Maiden Cup runners worked this morning. I went to the track, and I must say White River put up a very, very good gallop. And there was one or two other horses that galloped very, very well. And then obviously yesterday as well, that's the day that we've got, that we're going to talk about. It was quite difficult to find a couple of training shots because a lot of horses worked this morning. But like I said, I was quite impressed with the gallop of White River. Right, let's talk about last week's meeting. First of all, the feature race, Tsitsi Commandance. And one of my value bets. I had two value bets, and Tsitsi Commandance pulled it off. I thought he had he could turn the tables on the favourite, Bad Attitude. He did. He won well. I thought Naresh gave him a great ride. He knew he had the 54.5 kilograms on his back. He made that early move, got a little bit of a sort of break on them. And he went right through down to the line, and it was a quite impressive win. I rate this horse. I really do rate him. He's got some very good form back in South Africa. It's taken a couple of runs for the penny to drop, but I think he's going to quite a bright future, this horse, Tsitsi Commandance.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, he showed promise last time when we made him one of our free to follow. Actually, it's Tsitsi Commandance. Like you said, Naresh gave him a brilliant ride by taking full advantage of that featherweight. I think the winning move when he went for the outside run and just cruised home, actually, like we were saying with that featherweight. Yeah,
managed to beat Ready to Attack. Yes. And nice to see the ex-champion run a good race once again. Yeah. And who knows, maybe Ready to Attack will be back in the winner's box again. Sure. Right, let's talk about Yashin Imamdi. Nice to see him back in the winner's box with two winners. I thought that ride on Uzo was a very, very good ride. I mean, he took his chances. He waited for that inside run, knowing that Uzo has got that tendency to hang in the final straight. He waited for the final straight, and he dug down deep at the end. And very well done to the owners as well. This horse has been so unlucky, and he jumped from gate 10. Like I said, I thought he gave him a great ride, Yashin Imamdi on Uzo. Like I said, well done to all the connections. They've been sort of very patient with this horse. He's managed to reward them with a nice win.
What was nice for Uzo, we mentioned on Friday that he was the most unluckiest horse in Mauritius, and he became the luckiest horse for his trainer because he offered trainer Rameshwar Gadadhar his 500 winner.
Yeah, that was nice to see. After Sun Gajraj had his 500th winner, I think it was 2 meetings back.
Yes.
Nice to see Rameshwar Gajraj, he trained his 500th winner. And that's quite a feat, especially here in Mauritius, and well done to both of them. We didn't mention Sun's 500th win, but Rameshwar Gajraj, well done to the stable. They obviously one of the sort of big owners or big yards in Mauritius. They've always done well, and they really, the last couple of seasons, they've really sort of turned the stable around. And they're really doing well, and they buy good horses. That's a good thing. I mean, White River, one of them, example. And without them, I think there would be sort of a big gap in racing without the Rameshwar Gajraj stable. They're part of Mauritian history. And for them to train their 500th winner, that was pretty good. Right, let's talk about the two newcomers that won. I thought that horse of Derek Davids in the last, It's Him. He was very, very impressive, that horse.
He was very impressive, and like we mentioned on Friday, he could be absolutely anything. This horse, he's had only 2 runs in South Africa, and he ran against 2 good horses, Wave and Padre Pio. So this horse could be absolutely anything, and by the way he won, he will definitely go into better things.
Yeah, I thought Derek David made a wise decision, well, whether it was his decision or not, but he, like I said on Friday, he's by far the best horse in the field.
Yes.
It was always going to come down to greenness or how he handles the track first time out, but I thought that was a good move. He was the best horse, went to the front, the others had to come and catch him, which they obviously never did, and like I said, quite a bright future for this horse. It's Him, and the other horse, the Jazz Singh as well, he looks like a nice horse in the making.
He does. He went to the front and he stayed up right there, and he gave a good kick in the final stretch, and he could also be something special.
Yep. All right, then let's talk about some jockey jockey news, Randall Simons, he arrived yesterday. He was in training this morning, so he's obviously got all his clearances, and he will be on board Maiden Cup Day.
Yeah, he will. He'll probably ride Overshadow in the big race. He's a very good jockey. Won one of the big Group 1s on Sunday day this year with Socrat. So definitely one jockey to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, he must be decent. Mike de Kock doesn't use anyone, so obviously he must think quite a lot of Randall Simons. He's done pretty well. He's a young, well, he's still a young jockey, and let's hope that he takes off well here and he gets used to the track very quickly. Riding for Pritam Dabi, the stable's really starting to do well, so I would imagine with a jockey like Randall Simons, Pritam Dabi's stable worthwhile following. Orkosh Akaraz, Shahir had a terrible fall, and I had a look at the video. I thought it could have been avoided, but I think his determination, he wanted to get through there. I personally would have grabbed it and eased right out of it. But luckily he wasn't injured too badly. He did ride work yesterday, but he said he felt a little bit of pain. And so it remains to be seen. He might be off for a week or two, but who knows? Maybe he's feeling a little bit better. The main thing is, I mean, watching the fall, I thought he's going to be really badly hurt, but he came through that all right, which is good news. And then, unfortunately, Brandon Louis, who, I mean, it's amazing. You see a jockey fall, and then you see a jockey sort of hit the rail. And Brandon Louis come out the worst of the lot. So apparently he is off for 2 months. He's injured that foot quite badly, so we won't be seeing any of Brandon Louis, which is a bit of a pity, because he had some nice rides last week, and he missed out on Tsitsi Commandant. Yeah, and then the last thing we're going to talk about Saturday is the Pick 8 carryover. It's massive now. I mean, a Pick 8 carryover going through onto Maiden Cup Day, I would imagine the pool could reach easily 11-12 million rupees. Yeah,
that's what they were saying. I think you've been having your eye on that for 2 weeks now. Hopefully we'll catch it this week for the Maiden Day.
Yeah, I went, like I said, I took my small percentage. Still wasn't good enough. I went out 2 legs. But I don't know, it seems like it's easier to catch the Lotto than it is to catch the Pick 8.
The Pick 8, yeah, that's how it's been going this year.
Yeah, all right, well, that's one thing to look forward to, is that massive Pick 8 carryover. Once again, I'm going to take a small percentage and hopefully walk away with a little bit of the pot.
With a big smile too.
Yep. All right, two to follow. The horse I want to talk about is Word Buster from the Vincent Allett stable. He caught my eye. Massive improvement from his first run when beaten 11 lengths by Badawi. That was in a benchmark 31. This time he stepped up into a benchmark 36. He was beaten less than a length by Euroclodian. He travelled a lot better this time. Obviously, he's getting a little bit better with his racing. He was in a one-off position. He had to pull off slightly wide before the final straight. And he quickened up nicely, but maybe that second run, he just remained one pace towards the end. And in fact, at one stage, I thought he had the second place in the bag, but he just got a little run out of it that last little bit. Maybe indication that he's not 100% fit. He's obviously going to be a lot better next time. And I suppose a lot of people would argue it's not the strongest of fields, but remember, he only finished a neck behind that horse, Mr. Hardy, who was slightly disappointing, Mr. Hardy. I thought he'd walk this race, but Euroclodian, he ran a cracker, and well, he's got 2 runs under the belt now, and he must be a factor next time. Like I said, he's probably going to be a lot fitter. And Word Buster, Vincent Allett stepping out those newcomers. Another one that ran a good race was Sentido, and then obviously we saw It's Him win as well. So they got a little bit of firing power left for the remaining bit of the season, and they're having a great season. So may it continue. I think horses like Word Buster, Sentido, It's Him, the sort of new horses that come in, they're going to help carry the yard towards the end. But keep an eye on Word Buster next time. I think he's going to run a better race. Remember, his win in South Africa was over 1,600, so even maybe at 1,850, he could get away with that. Right, well, that was my horse to follow, Word Buster. The horse that Shahil spotted was Mr. Green Street. I must be honest, I thought he ran a terrific race as well.
Yeah, he did. He was a bit crane also during the race. He jumped awkwardly and was slow to begin from barrier 9. He was urged forward by Dinesh Schiffel to take a much more prominent position, and in doing so he was racing in the middle of the track, at least 3 or 4 wide, and it was never going to be easy for him because there was such a large false rails on the inside. He turned in for home and he still had something left, but he was hanging in quite badly, and Dinesh had to straighten him up a little bit, and when he did that, the horse absolutely flew home to finish 3rd. He's rated 27, so he's stuck between the benchmark 31 and the 0.26. So if it drops 1 point, probably he will be very, very competitive in 0.26, where he could grab his first win.
Yeah, he's definitely a horse that's taken his time to find his feet.
Yeah.
But, you know, like a lot of the younger horses, with runs, they just seem to get better and better. But I thought it was quite a good run there from Mr. Greenstreet. Obviously, Daryl Holland's coming back this week, so we might see him on him next time. Right, that was Saturday. Let's talk about the future. And there were 2 barrier trials. The one wasn't that exciting with all the blinkers on, but the first one, well, it was a return of Horse Guards from the Pritam Dabby stable, Yellow Jacket. He was, well, the vet requested him to gallop again, obviously, after last year's International Day when he won. He hasn't been 100% sound. I'm sure the vet would be quite happy with what he or she saw yesterday. Really worked out well, striding out well, and he remains the top-rated horse in the Pritam Dabby stable, and it's just been a pity that we haven't seen much of him this year. Well, we haven't seen anything of him this year, and well, let's hopefully he's all over those problems and we get to see Horse Guards soon. Halo from the Simon Jones stables, Red Jackie's a new horse, arguably the best horse that has arrived for the Simon Jones stable. 5-year-old that's already notched up 5 wins in Durban. In my opinion, the most impressive win was that merit rated 90 when he won easily over 1600 meters. That was a very nice win, and he's obviously above average, this horse, and that was a good performance next to Horse Guards. Hopefully he'll be able to boost the Simon Jones yard halo from, like I said, for Simon Jones. And then JJ's captain, the Green Jacket, he was repassed. And if you remember last week, I said he played up badly. He refused to load. Well, he was very stubborn loading, I beg your pardon. And I'm happy to report much better behaved this time. A little bit stubborn, but stood quietly, jumped nicely. They didn't go hard with him. And I suppose the reason for that is because it was his second week consecutive gallop. Plus, I see he is nominated in the 990 on Sunday, and there's probably another reason why they didn't put too much pressure on JJ's captain. But at the end of the day, nice to see Horse Guards back, and also very nice to see Simon Jones with a nice horse, Halo, a 5-time winner from Durban. He looks like he could be a big asset to the Simon Jones stable. Right, Shahil, like I said, that second barrier trial, not very exciting, but we thought we showed a couple of horses putting on blinkers for the first time.
Yeah, all of them actually, all 4 of them. There was Mark Tapley with a blue jacket and blinkers. There was Ladies Night with the red jacket, Space Agent with the green, and Slightly Scottish with the yellow. Mark Tapley, like you said last time, one very good name with Mark Tapley. He's a one-time winner in 15 starts for 4 places in South Africa. He's raced mainly in Durban, that is on the Greyville Poly track, and he's raced only once over the turf, that was at Scottsville. He has run from 1,000 meters up to the mile, and his win has come over the 1,400 meters. He jumped out okay, and he sat in behind till the 400 where Derek David asked him to stretch, and he responded really well. 102 cracks on the neck, and he just to get him going and to get him balanced into the stretch, and he completed the trial really nicely. So he's a promising horse, this Mark Tapley. Ladies Night, he was tried with the blinkers. He jumped out well and it was quite handy. Daryl Holland didn't ask him to do much compared to the other 3. Listen, he hasn't been able to confirm that win, even though he won that on objection. Hopefully the blinkers will help him next time out. Space Agent, he hasn't shown anything in his 6 starts till now. His best performance has been when he finished 8th to Dealer's Jom. That was full length off him. He was always going to be hard for him because he's a horse that comes from Flamingo Park, which is not the best centers in South Africa. Don't know if the blinkers will help him, but there was an okay trial for Space Agent. And then Slightly Scottish, he made his debut on the 8th of June, finishing 6th length off Texas Guy. He's a one-time winner in South Africa, and he has run against some good horses like Al Sheba and Dark Moon Rising, a good horse from the Paul Lafferty yard. He's won on 1,600 meters. He could be competitive if he finds that kind of form here in Mauritius of a rating of 34.
All right, well, that was the second barrier trial. A couple of horses there with blinkers. I personally think Ladies Night is a blinker horse. Yeah, and probably be a little bit better with the blinkers, but I do agree with you about the Kimberley horse. I think he's really going to battle here. Yeah. Anyway, right, that was the 2 barrier trials. Let's talk about some sand track training. Like I said, it is the build-up to the Maiden Cup, and Nebula and Power Tower. Well, you know, it's amazing. We haven't actually spoken much about Nebula, and I don't know why, because he must be a big runner in the Maiden Cup, Nebula. He finished in front of Enad last time under a ride that came under quite a lot of scrutiny when he ran second. He did receive 1.5 kilograms from Enad on that day, but he was pretty unlucky up the straight. For me, there's no doubt about stamina, and there's no doubt about class either. And I think Nebula must be a big runner on Saturday. I mean, he could quite easily pull a bit of a shock on over his stablemate White River. Coincidentally, he trotted yesterday morning, White River, but he galloped this morning. He really put up a very good workout this morning, did White River. Very, very impressive gallop this morning, White River. But I suppose the big question mark with Nebula is who's going to be on board.
Yashin, from what we heard. Yeah.
Okay, so from what we heard, it'll probably be Yashin. He's riding on top of his game. He had the 2 winners yesterday, and I think that Nebula is a big runner in the Maiden Cup come Sunday. And Power Tower, unfortunately, it's still not in the entries. I'm really looking forward to seeing this horse run again. There was good work with the Maiden Cup contender, and Power Tower, he will have a big chance next time as well. Right, Vasco Street Tractor.
One of the horses that you like to follow, Vasco Street Tractor, actually. His last run, I won't say it was disappointing, but it was a surprising run because he jumped out well, but he didn't maintain his position, and that's what probably cost him the race, because on a 990, if you lose a position, you lose the race. Probably that's why it costed Joachim Ranchesti his job. He did run better without the blinkers, and very happy to report that he has worked without them yesterday morning. He worked really well on the outside of Belenus, of which he had no problem going past. He's in excellent condition at the moment, and he could be very hard to beat next time out. The thing that surprised me is that last time that was a run over 990, he's entered this week in a benchmark of 31 over 1650. So that transition of 990 to 1650, what do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I suppose that run in his first run was such a great run over 990, and then they put the blinkers on. I think it was a 14 or 1450, and he fluffed his line. But there could have been the second run syndrome, putting blinkers on him, too handy. That's why I was quite confident about him winning the 990 next up. But that's probably not his ideal distance. And 1650, we don't know. That's might be stretching him a little bit, but we never know. Yes. We never know if they've taken the blinkers off. Give him a chance. The thing is the way his racing pattern's gone. Yeah. It's very hard to sort of predict exactly what his best distance is going to be. But that, like you said, that is stretching him a little bit from a 990 to a 1650. But we'll see how he goes. Yeah. Also, I want to talk about next is Ziggy Zaggy Zoogie. I think he's one of your 2 to follow, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, not in this week. He's rated 26. That first race is a 0.25, and him being at 26, he probably wouldn't have got in anyway. So they probably knew that. And I have to say, there's some massive fields on Sunday. I would imagine they're going to have 9 races Saturday, and it looks like it's going to be full fields in all those races. Good debut to Zen Zero, and well, he has come on a lot from that start, has to be said. His best form over in South Africa was between a 1200 and a 1400, so maybe they're looking for a little bit further with him in a 0.26. Maybe there is a race for them in mind. That's probably why we don't see him this week, and maybe we'll see him in the meeting after the Maiden Cup. But I can tell you, Ziggy Zaggy Zoogie definitely has come on from that first run, and if he's not a second run syndrome sort of victim, then I would imagine that he'll be a big runner next time, Ziggy Zaggy Zoogie. Right, Bye Bye Rocket, one of your favorite horses. You spotted him?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite horses. He won well despite being green last time out. He seems to have learned plenty from that race, because Manuel Nunes for once didn't have to use the stick on him yesterday morning during his gallop. He looked more focused, and he handled the bend really well, which is really promising for him. Listen, he could be a superstar in making this horse for next season, as he's just going to get better with each and every run. He's not entered this week. Probably next week or in 2 weeks' time we're going to see Bye Bye Rocket back on track.
Yeah, I suppose the reason why a lot of horses we're talking about aren't nominated this week is because it was Tuesday with racing on Sunday. I would imagine a lot of the runners would have worked this morning. So unfortunately we didn't have enough time to get that on video for you, but like I said, I did go down to the training, and we will talk about White River before we finish. One horse that did work yesterday that is nominated is Good Buddy. He worked alongside Hadarat, and we might just see the return of this impressive little grey this weekend, as he is entered in the third race. It is a benchmark 41 over 1650, and only beaten once in his career here in Mauritius. Well, not in his career, in his Mauritian career. That was over 990, obviously a little bit too short. It was behind the very capable Rule the Night, and the way that he won last time, you would think that the 1650 would be in his favour. I remember him going over the road, and I thought, he's in a bit of trouble, this horse, and he really quickened up beautifully up the straight. So I don't think he's going to have a problem with the 1650. So good gallop from Good Buddy. And next, there was a nice work next to last time winner Hadarat, and I'm not going to say a good bunch of owners, I'm going to say a great bunch of owners. They really get behind this horse. One of them is in fact, a lot of the owners are good friends of mine, and I really hope that he comes well on Maiden Cup Day. I'd love to see the owners win Good Buddy back on the piste, as they say, on Sunday with Good Buddy. He's been quite a good buy for the stable, and let's hope he continues on his winning ways. Right, a horse that you've been preaching to me since he's landed here in Mauritius is Al Sacre.
That's right. In fact, he's one of our two to follow. Tzitzit Kamadan's one, which was one of the two to follow. He's much improved run last time out when he finished second to Blow in the Box, one of your favorite horses. Listen, he hasn't been able to lead yet. He was a powerful front runner back in South Africa when he beat Kings County. He's run against the like of Monk's Hood, Surcharge and Royal Crusade, etc. He will take a lot of catching once he gets to the front this horse next time out. Even if he doesn't get to the front to get into a prominent position, that was an excellent run to Blow in the Box. He's looking great at track work on the Olivier Placé yesterday morning. Al Sacre is definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unfortunately, not entered again this week.
That was my question. Is he entered this week? No, he's not. So we'll have to wait maybe another week before we see Al Sacre. Right, a horse that is nominated this week and is also a horse to follow is Lucky at Last. And when he had a tough race last time, I thought it was probably not the best ride I've seen, but he had a tough race. And how he still managed to only get beat sort of under a length was quite an impressive performance. He's nominated in the 8th race. It's a 1650. It's a benchmark 0.26. The first time that he runs in a 0.26 this horse. He's dropped 7 points since he's arrived now. He arrived, I think it was at 34 or 33, I'm not exactly sure. But he has dropped down into the 26 for the first time. And if all goes well, he could pick up his first win. I see, pity we didn't see Carlton Heights work yesterday, because he's in the same race. They ran together last time. Carlton Heights finished in front of him, and he also had quite a tough race. So Carlton Heights, although he has run in 26 before, whereas Lucky at Last hasn't, but I thought there was a very good run from Carlton Heights as well, and it looks like these two could be the two horses in the 8th race to follow Carlton Heights and Lucky at Last. But Lucky at Last, nice gallop from him yesterday. Definitely going to be, he's going to have a say in that 8th race, that benchmark 26, 1650. Right, Nordic Chant.
Has been pretty consistent this season. Nice run last time when third to Silken Prince by only a length. It was pretty keen that day, and he still finished only a length to Silken Prince. Nice work alongside Turbulent Air yesterday morning in the Yashin MMD. He's entered in the same race as Vasco Street Tractor, the 1650 benchmark 31. He shouldn't have any problem
as well.
Yeah, in that race. So he shouldn't have any problem with the extra 50 meters, because he's won over 1600 back in South Africa. In fact, he won 2 times, and once he's beaten Rocket Countdown, which is a decent horse from the Candice Bass Robinson stable, and he's also ran 4th to Tapo North, the Cape Guineas winner back in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, he was a good horse, Tapo North.
So Nordic Chant, definitely one of the horses to follow in that race, which should be a good race with Vasco, Good Buddy and him.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a quite exciting race. Okay. Cash Call, he won last time on debut, and he was fancy that day as well. I had a look at the last night. I had a look. There was a bit of money for him, so he was fancied by the stables. There was he carries on looking well. This horse, he really does look magnificent. He looks like a nice horse. I have to say, Sham Hirschan, he really turns his horses out wonderfully. I mean, they really look good in the ring, and when they step in the ring, you almost feel like you've got to go and have a bet on them. His horses remind me of when Philip Henry used to train. They sort of, their coats are always shining, they're always looking good, and I have to say well done to him. Like I said, that was a 0.26. He now steps up to a benchmark 31 over the same distance. Judging from his work yesterday and the way he won, I don't think he's going to have a problem in the 31, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse could make it 2 from 2. And yeah, that's Cash Call. Went on debut, could quite easily pick up his second win. He looks like he's quite a nice horse in the making. Right, then one of the Maiden Cup contenders, Al Sheba, pretty lucky to get in after the great one. After his gallop yesterday, he pulled up lame, so that allowed Al Sheba to get in.
Yeah, that's right. And he put up some pretty decent work actually on the stand track under Daryl Holland alongside August Siller. He left a pleasing impression, and with his lovely action, he's got a lovely action about him, this horse. Even last week with his cross gallop, listen, he went past August Siller quite good easily, and when they were going up till just after the winning post, he's really looking ready for the big one on Sunday now. He shouldn't have any problem with the distance. Like we said, he was unlucky last time over 2,100 meters when I Travel Light was fading in front of him and Perplexing was just cruising on the outside. Listen, I don't think this horse will be disgraced on Sunday in the maiden. I do think he'll be in the top 4.
Okay, well, Shahel's quite confident of a top 4 finish there from Al Sheba in the maiden. Just like we mentioned early on this morning, Wednesday morning, I have to say White River once again, I'll tell you again, that was a very, very impressive workout for him. He remains my first choice. I don't think he's going to have a problem with this, with the distance. That's a sort of a big question mark on a lot of people's minds. Whether he'll stay, I don't think he's got a problem.
Me either, because I was looking for something online and I saw that, you know, Brad Crawford, which is one of the best trainers in South Africa, said that this horse had an outstanding chance in the July last year. Unfortunately, he pulled the shoe back there and he finished, I think, 8th in the July. If the trainer thinks his horse is good enough to run in the July, I don't think the 2,400, the extra 200 meters will cause any problem for him. So White River for me too, no stamina doubt.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Corné Orfer about 2 weeks ago, and over the phone, and I asked him if he thought that this horse would stay the 2-4. He said without a doubt he thinks that he's got the distance. So White River is going to remain my first choice. And another horse that worked well this morning was 10 Gun Salute.
That's right.
He put up a nice bit of work as well. So, you know, you can never write him off. He always sort of rises on the big occasion. And even though he's...
Last year he was my first choice for the maiden with Robbie Fred. He was working just superbly as well. So keep an eye on him too, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously I think that was Enad. I went back and had a look at his program, and if you go back to, I like the way that they've prepared this horse. If you go back to last year, he ran in the Barbie Cup and then the Golden Trophy. And then he came out to win the maiden, and he's exactly the same, and the gallop on the Tuesday before the Sunday, exactly the same this week. Oh, well, this year, I beg your pardon. Barbie Cup, Golden Trophy, galloped yesterday morning, put up a good work next to Perplexing, and I have to say that I'm pretty pleased with Enad's work as well. So, end of the day, it looks like it's going to be a great maiden. Hopefully, you make your way over down to the track on Sunday. I think it's going to be a great day's racing. We've got 9 races. Looks like a very, very competitive, as far as the nominations or the entries are concerned. It looks like it's going to be a good day's racing. So, make your way down there on Sunday. But before then, myself and Shahil, I think we might be shooting live on Friday evening. Just yet to be confirmed, but we might be live on Friday evening, and we will be going through this tough race card together on Friday on the mark. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you on Friday. Goodbye.